We are happy today to welcome Dr. Hilde Stenuit, Principal Scientist at Space Application Services, and you hold a PhD in Astrophysics from KU Leuven, and you have dedicated your career to advancing space science and technology. So I think we are all very interested today to hear more about your work. So I will start with the first question for you. So you started your career in astrophysics, and now you're combining that with cell biology. So that's quite a unique combination, we find. So the first question would be, how did you first come across cellular models, and what drew you into this field?
Nice question. So in fact, after my PhD in astrophysics, I was happy doing research myself, but I also found it a kind of lonely job, as some of the researchers might recognize. So I was actually interested in finding a job where there was a lot of interaction and a very dynamic environment. And I saw this job with a space company. I thought, well, maybe I have something to contribute. And that's what brought me to space. It's only later when I started coordinating operations for the International Space Station and then the science and the resources with the other agencies that I got more into also biological. And I think really the more focus on the cell biological part is actually really something from the last couple of years, I would say. Where we really see this convergence of cell biology and some of the technologies that we're discussing at the conference here with space, which is very nice. So I think that's relatively recent.
Okay, good. And I heard also this morning from your talk that you are working on organoids, right? Can you maybe explain again what the difference is between working on organoids on Earth compared to sending them to space?
Yeah, it's this annoying force of gravity. So on Earth, when you culture grow organoids, you have to bear with this gravity that actually flattens them or that makes them settle. In microgravity, you don't need to deal with this gravity force, so you can create more easily, more naturally, three-dimensional cell constructs that are more symmetric, that are larger as well. So it's an environment that organoids really seem to like for a number of reasons. Also, there's much less shear force for them. So because, I mean, again, you have not these fluid motions that you would need to deal with on Earth. So there's many reasons why organoids like the environment of microgravity. And so reversely, we like them, because they're obviously very interesting models also here on Earth to do a lot of activities, modeling, drug testing, and so on. So I think it's a nice love relationship.
Okay, interesting. And would you or can you say whether this is more physiological to what we have here on Earth, or does this still need to be proven?
Yeah, I think there's data that shows that the organoids in space are actually have a more complex architecture that seems to resemble more tissue-like constructs here on Earth. So yeah, I think it might be a better environment for modeling.
Okay, good. Then the next question maybe, because you mentioned it also this morning in your talk, you talked about mimicking aging, the process of aging. Can you maybe clarify this again, how this is happening?
So when astronauts go to space, we see certain effects in their body in different systems, like they lose muscle, they lose bone density, their cardiovascular system degrades, their immune system degrades, they have impact in their vestibular system. And so a lot of effects that seem to mimic effects that we would see when people are aging here on Earth. Nothing we can do about it, at least not yet. But it seems that this is going in an accelerated way in space. And so, again, it's interesting then to turn it around and ask, like, okay, can we actually use that fact? Can we make opportunistic use of it and use it for accelerated aging model or disease modeling and benefit from the space environment in that sense?
Okay, very interesting. So, and then the next question would be more on bioprinting. You have also described this during your talk. So, and as I understood, you are working on bioprinting and organ-on-chip models in space. So how did that idea come up?
Okay, so there's quite some people that think that the environment of space and the International Space Station might actually be the ideal environment to do 3D bioprinting. I was mentioning these more natural and more symmetric 3D cell constructs. So you need that also for bioprinting, but also you have less risk or less problem of collapse. You have more uniform distribution of the material and so on. So it's really also a very nice match, I would say. And there's some first activities done already on the space station. And I think it's really interesting to see how we can use these very new technologies also here on Earth, thinking about space and for use in the space environment on long-term space missions, but also, as I mentioned this morning, also for us here on Earth, if we can actually go and 3D bioprint certain things in space that we could not print in the same way on Earth, that would really be quite magic.
Yeah, indeed. And what would you say are the challenges to do research in space rather than on Earth?
Oh, there's a good list as well as there is for Earth. I would say if you're doing research in space that is related to the astronauts, one issue is that you have a small population, but also there organ-on-chip or organoids are actually very nice to solve that problem. Obviously, one other challenge is you're not there as a researcher, so whatever happens is happening in a way out of your control, either by other people, astronauts, or by automating it. We need to miniaturize as much as we can, so that is in general a challenge. We have on our side an excellent group of engineers that have figured out how to develop systems and to make them work in a space environment. I mean, anybody working on chips knows about bubbles, but if you go in a microgravity environment, getting rid of bubbles is not an easy thing. So there's challenges like those. But I think we're all gaining a lot of experience in overcoming these challenges. And I think also on Earth, there's a lot of activities going on that we hear about here. So I think also there it's a nice convergence of learning from each other in view of these overcoming these challenges.
Yeah, indeed. Very interesting. So now maybe as a last question and just for fun, have you ever been to space yourself? And are you planning to go yourself?
I have never been to space myself, at least not that I know. Maybe no, I haven't been to space myself, but I do have some things in my cupboard that have been to space, and whether I ever will, I don't think so, but who knows how long it takes before a larger group of people are actually starting to explore our universe.
And could you maybe give it like a timeline of when people could go?
It's honestly really starting that also private people can access space. It also has some negative connotation in the sense that people see it as a game of billionaires, which I mean, that's not what it always is, or that's not what I necessarily think it is. So yeah, in terms of timeline, I think we opened the door. I think it will not be a flood. So I don't think in 10 years there will be thousands of people traveling, but yeah, I think it will be a steady growth. And if we make it back to the moon and then to Mars with some people, we will already be very, very happy.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, well, that was it already. Thank you very much
for
being here today.